So have you heard about Artyfile?
I have, yeah.
It's this platform that's trying to like shake up the music industry
Yeah.
by bringing like art and investment together.
Right.
We've got a stack of their blog posts and like marketing materials here, and I got to admit, some of it sounds pretty revolutionary.
Hmm.
But is it all hype?
Yeah.
Let's dive in and see if they can like really deliver on these big promises.
Well, what's interesting to me is like how Artyfile is focusing on solving some of the biggest problems in the music world. Um, for creators, like finding affordable and unique music can feel impossible.
Yeah, it's really hard.
And for artists, getting fair compensation for their work is an uphill battle.
Hmm.
Artyfile claims to have a solution for both sides.
Okay, so for someone like me who's hearing about Artyfile for the first time, break it down. What exactly does this platform do?
Okay, so Artyfile offers two main product types.
Okay.
First, there's Artyfile Basic. Think of it like your typical music licensing platform,
Yeah.
but with a twist, no subscription fees. You buy a high-quality track once, and you have full sync rights to use it in like your videos, podcasts, whatever you're creating.
So a pretty straightforward way to get music for your projects without like breaking the bank.
Yeah.
But then there's the second type, right? Artyfile Limited Edition.
Yeah.
That's where things get more complex.
Exactly. With Artyfile Limited Edition, you're not just licensing music.
Okay.
You're buying shares in the ownership of the song through what they call a music NFT.
Okay.
So you actually become a co-owner of the master rights.
Hold on. NFTs. That's where I start to get lost.
Okay.
Is that all cryptocurrency stuff? I thought I needed to be some kind of tech wizard to get involved with that.
That's one of the barriers Artyfile is trying to break down.
Okay.
They've made it possible to buy these limited editions with regular money dollars, euros, you name it.
Wow.
You don't need to understand the ins and outs of crypto to become a music co-owner.
But, okay, so you're telling me I could potentially own a piece of a hit song.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it sounds cool, but what's the real benefit?
Okay.
Why would I want to do that?
It all comes down to potential income.
Okay.
Every time that song is streamed on like Spotify or Apple Music, used in a TV show, or even licensed by another creator, you get a cut of the revenue.
Oh, wow.
It's like owning a piece of the song's future success.
So it's not just about being a fan, it's an investment opportunity.
Yeah.
I have to admit, that's pretty clever.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, the whole NFT thing still makes me a little nervous.
Okay.
Is it really as secure as they say it is?
Mm-hmm.
How can I be sure I actually own what I'm buying?
That's where blockchain technology comes in.
Okay.
It's the backbone of Artyfile, and it's what makes this whole system possible.
Yeah.
Imagine a digital ledger that records every single transaction, and that ledger is publicly accessible and virtually impossible to tamper with.
Okay, but I've heard people say that blockchain is still pretty complicated.
Mm-hmm.
How does Artyfile make it user-friendly?
They handle all the technical complexities behind the scenes. You don't need to be a blockchain expert to like buy, sell, or track your music ownership. It all happens through their platform, and it's designed to be simple and intuitive.
So to be clear, with these Artyfile limited editions, I'm not just getting a cool digital collectible ang.
Yeah.
I'm actually becoming a co-owner of the song itself.
Precisely.
Wow.
And you have a verifiable record of that ownership on the blockchain. It's a level of transparency and security that traditional music ownership just can't match.
And this is where Artyfile claims they're creating a fairer system for artists too, right?
Exactly. In the traditional music industry, artists often get a tiny fraction of the revenue generated by their music. With Artyfile, they can sell ownership shares directly to fans, cutting out the middlemen and getting a bigger piece of the pie.
So it sounds like Artyfile is trying to level the playing field for both creators and artists.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the creators for a minute. They've got two options.
Yeah.
Artyfile Basic and Artyfile Limited Edition. How do they decide which one is right for them?
Well, Artyfile Basic is a great option for creators who want simplicity and affordability.
Mm-hmm.
You get high-quality music with full sync rights for a one-time fee. It's perfect for filmmakers, YouTubers, podcasters, anyone who needs great music without the added complexity of ownership.
And I'm guessing the limited editions are more for creators who want a unique sound for their project and are interested in that potential investment opportunity.
Exactly. If you want to stand out from the crowd, support artists directly, and potentially earn from your music choices, Artyfile Limited Edition is the way to go.
They have some pretty compelling stories on their blog about how this has worked for creators too, right?
They do. There's Leon, the filmmaker, who was struggling to find affordable music that fit the mood of his film.
Right.
He discovered Artyfile and found a limited edition track that not only elevated his project, but also ended up earning him some extra income when the film started getting attention.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's like a win-win for everyone involved.
Yeah.
The creator gets amazing music, the artist gets a bigger cut of the revenue, and potentially everyone who owns a piece of that song benefits from its success.
And that's the vision Artyfile is promoting, a music industry that's fairer, more transparent, and more rewarding for everyone involved.
It all sounds pretty good on paper,
Right.
but are they really walking the walk?
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how Artyfile's model is playing out in the real world, and if they're truly living up to the hype.
Yeah, me too. Well, from what I've seen, they're making some serious moves. They've partnered with some big names in the music world,
Oh, really?
like Abbey Road Studios and the London Symphony Orchestra.
Wow.
That tells me they're serious about quality.
And those aren't exactly small-time players.
No, they're not.
That's a pretty strong signal that they're building something legitimate.
Yeah, it is. It's not just about the partnerships, though. They're also putting a lot of effort into building like a user-friendly platform
Okay.
and educating people about how this whole system works. You know, they have a ton of resources on their website and even host workshops to help people understand music NFTs and blockchain technology.
So they're not just throwing this complex technology at people and saying, good luck, figure it out.
Right, exactly.
They're actually trying to make it accessible and empower people to participate.
Yeah, that's their goal. They seem to understand that for this model to really take off, they need to bring everyone along, creators, artists, and fans.
It's interesting that they're focusing so much on education.
Yeah.
It makes me think about how disruptive this technology could be to the traditional music industry.
Right.
If more and more people start owning music directly, what happens to the big record labels?
Well, that's a big question.
Yeah.
Some people believe that platforms like Artyfile could like completely upend the traditional music industry.
Okay.
They argue that it gives artists more control over their careers
Yeah.
and cuts out the middlemen who often take a huge chunk of the profits.
But wouldn't that also mean more responsibility for artists?
Oh, absolutely.
They'd have to manage their own marketing, distribution,
Yeah.
all that stuff that the record labels usually handle.
Absolutely. It's a trade-off.
Yeah.
Some artists might thrive in that environment,
Right.
having more freedom and direct connection with their fans. Others might prefer the support and infrastructure that a record label provides.
It makes you wonder if we're moving towards a future where artists have to choose a path, the traditional route with a record label,
Yeah.
or this more independent blockchain-powered approach.
Well, yeah,
Hmm.
it's certainly possible, but it's also possible that both models can coexist. Maybe some artists will use platforms like Artyfile to release certain projects or connect with their most dedicated fans
Yeah.
while still working with record labels for other aspects of their careers.
I can see how Artyfile could be especially appealing for independent artists
Oh, yeah.
who are just starting out and don't have the resources to sign with a big label.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Gives them a way to build a following, earn revenue, and maintain control over their music from the very beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's talk about Artyfile's vision for the future.
Okay.
They're not shy about their ambitions to become the leading platform for music ownership, right?
No, they're not. They're definitely aiming high. They see a future where music ownership is commonplace.
Right.
Where fans are active participants in the success of their favorite artists, and where the whole music ecosystem is more equitable and transparent.
But it seems like they have a long way to go to achieve that.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges they might face in getting there?
Well, one challenge is simply awareness.
Okay.
A lot of people still don't know about music NFTs or understand how blockchain works.
Yeah, for sure.
Artyfile has to do a lot of education and outreach to reach a wider audience.
And there's also the issue of competition.
Yeah.
Other platforms are popping up that offer similar services. Artyfile has to differentiate itself and convince creators and artists that they're the best option.
Right. And then there's the regulatory landscape.
Oh, yeah.
Governments around the world are still figuring out how to regulate cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology that could create some uncertainty for Artyfile as they grow and expand.
Sounds like they're navigating some pretty complex waters.
They are, but they seem to be making waves, attracting a diverse range of users.
Yeah.
We've already talked about Leon the filmmaker.
Right.
They've also got the story about Alexandra the podcaster on their website, right?
Oh, yeah, Alexandra. Tell me about her.
Yeah. So, Alexandra was using royalty-free music for her podcast, but wanted a unique sound that reflected her brand.
Okay.
So, she bought a limited edition track from Artyfile, which not only gave her podcast a distinctive feel, but also ended up earning her some money as her podcast grew in popularity.
Wow. So it's not just filmmakers and musicians who are finding value in this platform.
No, not at all.
Podcasters,
Yeah.
YouTubers, anyone creating content can potentially benefit.
Absolutely. And that's what makes Artyfile so intriguing.
Mhm.
They're tapping into a much wider market than just the traditional music industry.
I can't help but wonder how all of this is going to impact the way we think about music.
Right.
If owning a piece of your favorite song becomes as common as buying an album or streaming a playlist,
Yeah.
will it change the way we value music?
That's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
Will it make us more invested in the success of artists? Will it make us think differently about copyright and ownership? Will it change the way music is created and consumed? It's hard to say for sure, but it's definitely a conversation worth having.
Okay. I've got to admit, I'm starting to see the potential here.
Yeah.
But I'm also curious to know if there are any downsides to Artyfile's model.
Okay.
Are there any criticisms or concerns that we haven't touched on yet?
Well, yeah, there are a couple of things to consider. One potential concern is the issue of speculation. Since the value of these limited editions is tied to the success of the song, there's a risk that people might buy them solely as an investment, hoping they'll increase in value. That could lead to a bubble where prices are driven up artificially.
So it's like the stock market for music,
Yeah.
where people are betting on which songs will become hits.
In a way, yes. And like any investment, there are risks involved. The music industry is notoriously unpredictable. Just because a song has big-name producers or sounds catchy doesn't guarantee it'll be a commercial success.
That makes sense. And I guess if the value of these limited editions is constantly fluctuating, it could make it harder for creators to budget for music. Imagine planning a film project and the cost of the music you want keeps going up and down.
Yeah, that's a valid point. Artyfile will need to find ways to stabilize the market and make it easier for creators to plan and budget effectively. Maybe they could offer some kind of price protection or introduce mechanisms to prevent wild price swings.
And what about the artists who choose to sell limited editions of their music? Are there any risks for them?
There's always a risk that an artist could sell a share of their song for a low price early on, and then if the song becomes a huge hit, they might feel like they missed out on a bigger payday.
I guess it's like any entrepreneurial venture. You're taking a chance hoping that your early supporters will benefit along with you if things take off.
Exactly. And it's a decision that each artist will have to weigh carefully. They need to consider their financial goals, their risk tolerance, and their overall vision for their career.
It sounds like Artyfile is opening up a whole new set of opportunities and challenges for both artists and creators. It's almost like a social experiment in how we value and support music.
It is. And it'll be interesting to see how it all evolves. Will it revolutionize the music industry, as Artyfile claims, or will it become a niche market for a select group of artists and fans? Only time will tell.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into Artyfile. From their vision of a more equitable music ecosystem to the technical complexities of blockchain and NFTs, it's clear that they're pushing boundaries and shaking things up.
They're definitely a company to watch. They're asking big questions, challenging the status quo, and offering a glimpse into a future where music ownership is more accessible, transparent, and rewarding.
So what's the final takeaway for our listeners? What should they be thinking about after diving into all this information?
I think the most important takeaway is that the music industry is on the cusp of a major transformation. Platforms like Artyfile are challenging traditional models and empowering both artists and creators in new ways. Whether you're a musician, a filmmaker, a podcaster, or simply a music lover, this is a movement worth paying attention to.
It's an opportunity to not just consume music, but to participate in its evolution. Who knows? Maybe you'll become a co-owner of the next big hit.
And even if you're not ready to jump into music NFT ownership just yet, Artyfile Basic offers a compelling alternative for creators seeking high-quality, affordable music.
It's all about choice and empowerment. Artyfile is giving us more options and more control over how we create, consume, and support music. And that's something to get excited about.